me.
Hear that first part 'cause it's on.
I like this. Who picked the theme song, the opening?
This one?
No. The,
That was me a long time ago.
I like it.
Well, we all did, but I
You found it. You sourced it.
yeah, I found it. Yeah.
Reminds me of that Papa Americano. Do you know that song?
No. But I like the sound of
It
it.
always reminds me of the Star Wars Cantina scene.
There is a full version too. Like there's like a longer version of it.
Have you been having any issues with Spotify? Oh, you don't use Spotify. That's right. Sounds like it's from Zoolander.
This is the one.
Sounds Italian.
Uh-huh. We speak no Americano.
Oh, you didn't have to say.
All right, going live on the mics. Check 1, check 2. That's good.
Check 1, check 2.
5, 4, 3,
Welcome, everyone, and pull up a seat at the table. It is lunchtime in Rome. Tonight's episode 181 is entitled Real Observations. Social media has impacted our lives in so many ways. What can we learn from it from an emotional needs perspective? We'll be looking at many examples tonight at the table. So pull up a seat at the table and join us. First-time listeners can subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Watch us live at lunchtimeinrome.com/live or listen directly on lunchtimeinrome.com. While there, you can take our relational needs questionnaire. Make sure to follow us on all social media, and it would be great if you gave us a 5-star review. Jay, what is this podcast about?
Being alone is the worst. Good times aren't as good, and bad times are worse when you're all alone. Romans 12:15 says to rejoice with those who rejoice and mourn with those who mourn. That is how you keep people from being alone, and what this podcast is all about. We demonstrate that in the first 15 or so minutes of the podcast, and we talk about it for the rest. So while it may not be 12:15 in Rome, we're treating it like it is
Lunchtime in Rome. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Eric.
What did you point at me for?
Well, there's a trash can over there now, too.
I see that now.
There you
Trash cans in Rome. Coughing in Rome. Amy's with us.
Hi.
go. Yes.
Amy Raymond.
Yeah,
Do we
not,
remember-
not Amy Hammond.
Yeah, there could be many Amy's.
need to be more
But this
specific.
is the Amy Raymond. Which episode do we remember that her being on?
167.
That's the one I had it memorized as. Are you looking it up,
But it
Eric?
was
No.
I will.
it was in May, and if you would have asked me,
It was in May,
I
okay.
would have said like July or August, and I was scrolling back, and I was like, it's a lot further. Oh my, it was May.
Wow.
I think it was 167.
May
I had to look
seems
it up on
like
Substack, couldn't
a
I?
year and a half ago to me.
Nope, 16 to me.
16
it.
years
Yeah,
ago?
it does
Yeah.
feel like a lifetime ago.
So what have you been up to?
So,
157, thank you.
ooh, I was
Oh,
so
even
close.
more.
May 19.
Oh, that's right before my birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Brian.
Look at that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Almost
Appreciate
to the day,
that.
7 months later. Look at that. It's the 15th, 14th,
Most of the
whatever.
day, 7 months later.
What have I been up to? Gosh, a lot. So May, that meant we had not yet been on vacation, which was fantastic. We went to the Outer Banks, which we hadn't been to in 1,000 years. So that was super fun.
Where?
Not yet been on vacation, which was fantastic. Went
Hmm.
which we had.
Eric, you're playing our podcast
Yeah,
in
we
real
can-
time.
Sorry, my bad.
Totally.
I was like, why am I
so
here?
good.
Make sure that there's audio going through.
I hear
All right.
myself.
We're good now.
Where in the Outer Banks?
Kill Devil Hills.
Oh, sure.
I had to think about that for a second. So we did that. That was really fun. Girls started school. That was terrific. I got a work trip to Louisville, which was super fun.
Oh, that's right. You went across the big long bridge.
I did. Oh gosh, and it was foggy. And as we were walking across the
What
bridge,
is it, 2 miles? No.
it's a mile
1
out,
mile.
and a mile out and about mile
Okay.
back, so 2. So you walk across from Kentucky into Indiana and back. And it was foggy, and I looked over and I thought, well, I'll take a picture on the way back. Maybe it won't be quite as foggy. And it actually got worse. So we were walking back, and I was like, oh, it's really disorienting. You can't see anything. I was like, I feel like I'm walking through
in the
milk.
clouds. Oh, through milk.
It was not puffy, and it just looked. It was weird. And we knew we were above water. I was like, can we just be done? Let's
And
just be
even
done.
when you get off of that is the spiral walkway.
Correct.
That had to be, well, I guess by then are you under the clouds?
By then it was dissipating some, but in the middle of the bridge when it was.
Can we talk about Louisville for just a minute?
Sure.
Sure.
What did you think of Louisville?
I did not experience much of it, but
Okay.
what I did experience was fun. But I think that was more because of the organization of the group outings and who I was with.
Sure.
But it was fine.
I found it to be a town that didn't know what it was. Because it's
Not
like
baseball? Because, I mean, you think Louisville Slugger.
they've got a museum, but like
a gigantic bat, like 50 feet tall. Or
we
something.
didn't go to. We wanted to, but we didn't go to that. But
Yeah.
like their area, which is kind of like Station Square in Pittsburgh, 4th Street or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is cool, and it's in the middle of downtown, and it's all shiny and new. And then there's like historic Louisville, which is just like really sad Louisville. Like I was looking for these old, cool Southern homes, and you're just like,
No, it was I can see that.
And
And,
then-
but there was waterfront stuff, and they were like, we have the biggest waterfront concert and fireworks show and
was that
whatever.
in like that same park?
It was to the walking across the bridge. It was like on the right hand side of it. I'm
Where
not
like
sure.
Abraham Lincoln statue is?
remember
There's a
seeing
big
it.
Abraham Lincoln statue. We took a picture with Abe.
He was from Kentucky.
I had to amend the picture because in the one it looked like I was shooting him. Thought that was a
No,
bad look.
Somebody,
Too soon.
Somebody else took care of that for you. Job was done.
So Louisville
Mm-hmm.
and
And what else? Girls started school. I said that. They had wonderful soccer seasons. Crazy.
So
Abby,
much soccer.
Abby played on 2 teams this year. We eliminated one, so that was that was a nice reprieve. But she did really well. We had a lot of fun with that. A couple tournaments, holidays. Parents sold their house. My parents sold their house. I was thinking of you and your beach house. They're temporarily living with us, which is really cool.
Is that cool?
It is cool.
And you don't say that
actually.
sarcastically.
No, not at all. Not at all. I
What does Mark say?
Mark, he's listening. Hi, Mark.
About-
Mark he's happy to be able to help too,
Yeah,
and he gets
that's
along very
Mark.
well. He gets along very well with my parents. Mark's a very easygoing guy. It takes a lot to really ruffle his feathers, so he's happy to do it.
Right.
And
I mean, nobody wants anyone else living in their home, but it's the best case scenario if somebody's got to.
it's well, and the thing that I keep thinking about is I'm really grateful that we're doing this, and we have. It's a want to do, not a oh my gosh, there's a situation and we have to
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have gotten an apartment. They could have done a variety of things, but
Right.
there's a much longer story to the whole selling of the house saga. But suffice it to say, they sold it. It's all gone. They're in the process of building a new one. It's almost done. They were there
Wow,
today.
that's
and it's
exciting.
Like, yeah.
Where?
Not far from where they currently are. So just a few miles further east of where they currently are. And so it's exciting. And finally with the sale behind them, I think they can be excited. Like for a minute they weren't, there was so much hiccup and drama that I don't think they were really excited about the new place, but now they are. So it's fun. And the girls are having a good time with Nunny and Papa. being
And
in
that's
the
a big
house.
deal, especially, you don't get those days back.
Nope.
And they enjoy them, which is a win. I mean, if I had to live with my grandparents on my dad's side, that'd have been like, whoa.
Different.
Yeah. I did live with my grandfather on my mom's side, and he was cool. Like, you get those. Of course, I was 25, but
Yeah, different point, but it's fun. And actually we were laughing because we've been eating at the kitchen table, and I was like, this is what normal people do. We eat at the kitchen table. We don't like have two kids in the chairs at the island and Mark and I standing and hovering at the island. Like we sit down like a normal human being family and eat together, and that's been fun. Not every night because schedules are goofy, but
Yeah.
Sure.
when we can, we do it, and
It's so vital.
yeah.
So vital.
yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Eric, do you guys sit down as a family?
No, not yet. I know. We want to, but like we are incredibly. And I was just actually thinking about this today, or yesterday, recently. That man, what's gonna happen when like Maggie starts to do like extracurricular activities? Because like
Would you
we're
like
very
us to tell you?
well, I mean, like we're very busy, like as it is, and she doesn't have anything like outside of preschool right now. So it's like, as soon as that stuff starts happening, I feel like it's gonna get even harder. But like, Amy and I have talked about like having like a dedicated night at least.
Yeah, you have to be intentional
Yeah.
about that at least once in your
But
life.
oftentimes, like she's not hungry at like dinner time, So
Well, that creates the drama. Finish your food. I don't want to finish
don't
my
wanna
food.
I don't want this. We do. For us, it's not always dinner because schedules are bonkers. But
Yeah.
we do a lot of breakfast,
Uh-huh.
or we make not like school days are a little tricky because we're trying to all get. I mean, Mark works from home, so he's there, and his schedule isn't as complicated as ours, getting the girls on the buses and getting me to the office and whatever. But we try to do breakfast, even if it's on the weekend. We try to make that like a little bit more of a special thing
Yeah.
and take the time to do it, just because we know we don't always get the time at dinner.
Yeah.
So,
What about you guys?
which kind of stinks.
I was going to say, how like in football, there's like zone defense and you kind of adjust to wherever the offense is going.
Sure.
That's how we do dinner anymore. Because obviously Ethan is incredibly busy with musical and things like that. I'm busy a lot of the evenings too. And sometimes we're just not hungry, at the same time.
Dude, it's seriously.
Am I the only one that's like always hungry? What is
No,
that?
I usually get hungry later.
Well, yeah.
When kind of like a lot of times I eat after Maggie goes to bed.
Sure.
So there
Are we interrupting your dinner time? Do you need
No,
to,
'cause
do you
we
need
had-
to go get a snack?
No, I had work party
Uh-huh.
happy hour. So
Oh,
yeah.
that's fun.
Yeah, so
talk about it.
for us, we do try to make it a point to sit down at least once a week, sometimes twice a week, but anymore it really becomes like I said, zone defense. It's are you hungry? No, great, we got leftovers. It just you got to roll with it.
Yeah.
We hit a pocket like once I left Young Life staff, really through the Trey days, and where Joe and Bella were still, late elementary, junior high, where it was almost every night. We had dinner every night,
That's
and then
impressive.
it's one of those things where you go, we don't do that anymore. Like we didn't consciously stop.
Yeah.
And
but-
you don't remember the last, I bet.
Like,
You know what I mean?
I
Like-
do now because we now make it happen. But like the last regular one or the last
That's-
period of time.
Right, that's what I mean. Like you don't
Which
know
goes
that
right back to you
don't know
never
that
remember
it's-
the last time you'll
Yeah.
X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
But now it's kind of cool though because I mean Joe's got a million things. He's in college, blah blah blah. They're both working, but when we do it now, like now Leah is involved as well, and she grew up in a very non-traditional household, so she didn't have family dinners. So now when we have a family dinner, it's not 4, it's back to 5 again, and it's a really big deal. Otherwise, I mean, it is 4. I don't even know when Joe eats, where he's at Leah's most of the time. Bella will make herself a ramen, whatever, or something I made. And Rachel's clockwork, during the school week. And I'll eat dinner tonight at 11, maybe. So nobody eats with me then.
Aw.
You know-
Sounds like maybe Eric's your best shot here. He eats late.
As close as we can get.
All right. Are you up for the challenge? Eating at 11?
I could
Like
do
it's
it.
very European. It's very, it's very, in vogue, I suppose.
Well, Tuesday nights, I feel like I'd eat dinner
That's
with
true.
you.
That's a family dinner every Tuesday
Yeah.
night. That's my dinner that night.
Yeah.
So there. Once a week I have a family dinner.
Congratulations.
Just not with Bella's there. Joe's there sometimes too. And next week Rachel will be
Rachel
there.
will be there.
Family dinner, everybody.
There it is.
Stop on by.
So, what?
I was gonna say I'll go, but no,
Well,
no.
I mean, we're not going.
Right.
I guess I'll talk. I'll talk about
But Eric wants to
dovetail
go.
on
I'm fine. I'm good.
Ethan's choir, like talking about Ethan at school, and dinner table and things like that, and how busy he's become. And I did want to kind of give him a shout out and brag about him a little bit because he's loving all of the musical things at school, and he's loving the choir that he's in, which they had a concert last night. Jay
It
was
was
there.
a fun concert.
It really was. It was really, really cool to see
Did not
that.
expect it to be a fun concert.
No, and it was also, it's amazing to see how talented some of those kids are. I mean, Bella, she was in 3 or 4 different things, instruments and singing and things like that. But then Ethan also got invited to sing in some kind of special choir that's going to be singing with the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra. And out of all the kids like we saw last night, he was one of 4 that was chosen out of that. And it was completely random. He wasn't a tryout or anything like that. His teacher came up and gave him a paper and said, here you go, man. So it's a tremendous opportunity. It's a tremendous honor for him. It was really fun to celebrate that with him because he brought it home and he's kind of like, not shy, but like, here's this thing.
Yeah.
And, it's like,
Yeah.
dude, this is a big freaking deal.
Quiet boastfulness.
Yeah. So it's, and I told Lex, it's really cool to see Star on the rise because that's kind of how I see him. He's matured more and more over the past year, 2 years, in so many different ways.
Overnight.
But especially within the musical sphere, you can see him leveling up on a performance by performance basis, gaining more trust from the people that are in charge of putting him in positions and things like that.
Where's he right now?
Getting picked up by Lex, but he was at callbacks to see basically the final tryout for the musical coming up in the springtime, which is going to be Mamma Mia, and so they'll evaluate all the kids that were there tonight and then put them into a spot or cut them. So that's where he was. I did also want to talk about over the weekend. I played hockey on Friday night like I always do, and I had so much fun.
Next thing you're going to do is tell me you delivered water at one point in time in your life.
A couple times. But no, I had probably the most fun I've ever had at hockey on Friday night.
Wow.
And I played probably I had guys that I've played with for years tell me they said, we know your body of work and this isn't anything against your other body of work, but this is the best I've ever seen you play tonight. I don't know why it was.
Well, that's what I want to know. Like, why?
I have
What's
no
the trick?
idea.
What's the secret? You got to write that down.
No idea.
How'd you tie your shoes?
What kind of socks did you
I didn't
wear?
wear underwear.
Hey,
No, that wasn't it. And then Saturday morning, I woke up and I felt great. I felt great, but I woke up at like 5:45 in the morning, and it was just the house was all decorated for Christmas. We hadn't got the tree yet,
That's nice.
and I was anticipating that. But I woke up. It was just nice to wake up. I got a cup of coffee and just sat there till like 9 o'clock when everybody else got up, just writing and just being like, I didn't get up with a clock. It was just such a great moment. I just appreciated every second of that. So, yeah.
Man, that's amazing. And you love you some Christmas.
I love me some Christmas.
So sitting
the
in
most
there,
wonderful time of year.
So at the end of the concert last night, they did a sing along with the full band, full orchestra, the whole choir. I almost teared up
Really?
because it was the first time it felt like Christmas.
Yeah.
Because you're just without abandon, you're just singing a very known Christmas song, and I was just like, this is really nice. It feels like Christmas.
That was a lot of fun.
Because it just doesn't.
I agree with you. I was thinking about that. Like you usually do the good, bad food thing. And I was thinking like, I don't know that bad is, I hate saying bad because it feels very final. Like this is bad and it's not going to be changed. But for me, the bad was like, it just doesn't feel as joyful. And I have heard so many people within the past week say I don't even like saying these, they just can't wait to get through it. Like
Oh.
the month of
Yeah.
December in general, not just
Yeah.
Christmas is the
season.
finish line.
Yeah.
But people are like, we just need to get. I'm like, oh, why? But I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like there's a heaviness to the joyful season doesn't feel as joyful. And
Well, I don't think there's a lot of joy out there.
Yeah,
that
that's
could
true.
be.
Very angry world we're living in.
Yeah.
I
Oh, and it came out quick. Like
came up quick.
everybody.
Nobody
like,
saw it coming.
December 25th.
I know.
just
No
but,
way of
like,
knowing.
Everybody has had that. Like everybody
same
I know
every
has
year.
like, I can't believe like it's middle of December already.
See, that hit me end of November.
Yeah, but it's hitting everybody this year.
Right.
Like, and it's not like
I'm a freak. I mean, I don't feel this way at all in
Yeah.
any way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean, and we haven't really done anything differently though, because like Amy's been decorating. The house has been decorated. We always go get our Christmas tree on the day after Thanksgiving. It's
Well, Lex and I were talking tonight about New Year's, and it's like, dude, any more New Year's is just like, we come over to your house and it's always a fun time because it's us.
Yeah.
But like the whole ball drop thing, the whole, we come over on New Year's now just because it's fun to hang out with us, and
Right.
it's kind of a tradition.
yes.
But like,
It eventually
the
turns into like
ringing in of-
YouTube night, and we just watch random
That's
YouTube
right.
videos or
80s videos.
old 80s music
Yeah.
videos. Because
But like I remember as a kid, like New Year's was like magical and special, and you're staying up, and
There's anticipation
There was
around
some
it.
kind of an
Yeah.
anticipation about the year, and I don't feel it anymore.
When it counts down to zero, and I mean my entire adult life at least, it's one of the most emotional moments for me every
Agreed.
year. And it's sort of like there's just nothing you can do. Like time is gonna keep moving.
inevitable.
on. Like
Yeah.
you just watch it and you're like, well, that New Year's coming, and not that there's any significant about the year.
Yeah,
It's
But
just
you realize the insignificance of you, and it's not like when you look in the ocean. And you're like, wow, God is so great. It's like at the end of the year, you're like, time is so cruel.
the Grim Reaper is just
Exactly what it is.
That's the balls dropping from his.
This is a record, by the way, for balls dropping
Yeah.
quotes in our podcast so far. But we'll see if we can extend that record.
let's not drop the ball on
well,
that.
speaking of balls, we had our I would say our team Christmas party, because it was just our team. We didn't do company Christmas party. And we went to Pins Mechanical down on a south
Sounds
side.
fancy. I was gonna say either South Side or Lawrenceville.
There's pinball machines. There's old arcade video games from like the
Ooh.
90s, and there's duck pin bowling, and it was so fun. It was so fun, and it's like I've only done duck pin bowling like way back in the day, like 30 years ago, and you had to like set up your own pins. It was at this retreat center, and but this.
Years ago. I
Years
think
ago,
it was in
yeah.
a place on the south side. I'm like,
No.
that's got to be an insurance.
This one is cool. Like,
You
well,
pay
and
extra.
you have to throw the ball pretty hard because, like, the action on the smaller pins is not like it is in regular bowling. The lane is a lot shorter, but then like every pin is attached to a string, and like it's so funny because like they'll get tangled up, so then the machine like keeps on like trying to untangle, and like the pins are just like dancing at the end. Like it's just
Some of
very
the
funny.
dumbest puppets you've ever
Yeah.
seen.
Yes.
Marion.
What's the point of that over regular bowling then?
Space could be one.
Yeah, overall space.
Overall space, but it's much more
Conversations like
casual.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do it just for
It was meant for
podcasts.
this podcast right now.
Just for.
I feel like
just
it's much more
entertainment.
casual, although they do have leagues. But it was
What's
really
more
fun.
How can bowling be more casual than regular bowling? Yeah, bring in a case of Miller Lite.
Yeah.
And
But what's How annoying is it to watch the pins try to be untangled? Like, how long does that take? Like,
Well,
what do you,
your
and what
OC
do you do
Your
while it's
organization
happening?
at OCD, that's bothering you just hearing about it.
It is. They're like clanging around like wind chimes. Like, what is the? I don't get it.
Wait, I could maybe. Hang on one second.
Are we?
I might be able to show you.
Delighted. I have never been more so.
Yeah, he's going to show you something that will frustrate you.
I knew somebody one time that
The
did
gift
duck
that
pin
keeps on
bowling.
giving.
That's about the extent of
I
my
think-
duck pin bowling.
I think it's this one. We'll do it live.
Oh boy, here we go.
I can hear it. They sound tangled. Oh, it's over
So
on that
for
screen.
anybody that's not watching, which is probably most of you, there's a bowling lane, and somebody's throwing a ball down,
There they
Oh,
go.
wow.
and it is a shorter lane.
It is marionettes.
And really, the pin, it does look like puppets on strings. I don't get that. So is it just chaos? Like, are you just
And then,
supposed?
there
there
we
we
go.
go. Whoop.
And then it lowers the.
Wow.
I don't like it. Thumbs down from Amy.
So is it the same? I see the ball. Like the ball looked like a slightly bigger pool. You know, like the pool game.
More of a
pool.
bocce.
Like a bocce.
Yeah,
like a bocce ball. Yeah, just like
Yeah.
a bocce ball. And they had bocce there. They have bocce.
Oh, nice.
It was really. It's a really cool place.
Is the scoring the same as in regular bowling?
They go by
Oh
tens.
my gosh.
Okay, so you actually. Well, I'll say
Brian's
it's
joining me in my
yes and no.
frustration.
There's 10. There's 10 pins.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And if you get them all down in one shot, it's a strike.
Mm-hmm.
All down in two, it's a spare. But every frame, you get an extra, like you get a third ball. So, come on, people, hold it together. But if you get them all down on that third ball, it's not a spare.
Third 15,000.
What's it called?
You just grew up.
It's just added up. It's just added to your score. So you could
Interesting.
get 10, but you're not going to get anything extra for it. It's not going to like add the next frame on.
Oh, well, then I'm out. I
third-
can't get extra
Why
credit.
ball
bother?
that you throw, and you don't get.
I
Char-
just
you
want
don't-
to walk down the lane with a pair of
If you get a
scissors and cut
strike,
the
Yeah.
string.
it's just like regular bowling.
Right, you don't get the added 10. You just get to get those 10.
Right. On the if
On the-
you knock them
on
all
the third
down on the
attempt.
third attempt.
Mm.
Yeah. But
bonus.
it's a lot harder to get a
Should get
strike.
5.
It's a lot harder to get a strike.
Should be 5 plus your next ball.
I'm gonna stick to regular bowling. I think. But I also joined
I
you
think you would
in
like it.
that fun time that you had.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm glad you had that time.
Yeah.
And so, was there like team cohesion? I know you guys have been, working remotely for quite a while.
We
was
like
it-
getting
was it
together.
Nice to get, okay.
Yeah, it was very nice.
So you have been
to
getting
get
together
together.
semi regularly.
Yeah, like once a month, and yeah, it was great to see everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Saw some other people that I haven't seen in like 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
which was kind of crazy. But yeah, it was very fun. I would definitely go back. And can't give all the details, but Amy's going to start a new job,
Which is
which
exciting.
is crazy.
It's great.
Amazing.
And it's a better
Better job,
right.
and
It's a good thing, is all I'm saying.
it's a very good thing.
Yeah.
And she'll probably move into a full-time position there
Oh.
after Maggie goes back to school.
Will it still be work from home, or is that not a detail you can give?
No, she'll be going around. She's going to be working at a hospice place.
When Rachel and I were talking about it, she was like, gross.
Yeah, I know. She
Like, well,
loves
honey,
her
maybe
old
we're
people.
gifted
She
differently.
really does like
She
her.
loves her old people, and she loves. When
I'm so
they're
glad that
dying.
somebody has a heart. I'm
Yes.
so glad somebody has a heart for dying old
Yeah,
people.
and man, she does. And it's a mom and pop place. It's not. She told me not to mention the name yet.
Right.
So we'll talk about that later. But she gets a company car with a gas card.
It's incredible.
It's awesome.
Good for her.
So
Yeah.
That's great.
you'll be able to just give your lease back.
Well, we're thinking about when
Let
mine
Matt-
is up.
Let Nathan take it so that he can just friggin'
He can pay
drive.
it off. We're thinking about when my lease is up, just going down and getting down to the. We're not. I mean, we can't drive that car like
Right.
outside of work, but
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, you don't want to bilk the new company right away.
Right. Right.
Let that
Ease in it,
ease
ease
in. That's right.
Good 6 months.
So speaking of work, I was listening to a podcast the other day. I was trying out a new one, and I think it was called Second Seat. And it's a podcast that's done by associate pastors. And I'd seen a clip on Instagram from one of their podcasts, and I was intrigued by the topic. So, of course, I go to their podcast. Can't find that episode. But they had
they need a Substack.
They do need a Substack. But they did have one where they did a roundtable with lead pastors. And I was like, okay, well, I'm a lead pastor. I guess I'm also the associate pastor, but so I'm like, let's give it a shot. And I mean, I typically can't stand Christian podcasts. They're just so Christian. And so I'm listening, and I came away with two thoughts. But then today at a lunch with actually Rachel's Young Life leader, RD, who I've known for years, he had a good maybe answer to my query, which was the one thing I took away is I'm listening to they wanted to know what's going on in the mind of a lead pastor and what do you wish people knew about you that they don't know? And all of them had been associate pastors. So what's different from being an associate pastor to a lead pastor? So I'm listening. I came away with two conclusions. One, they spend a lot more time on vision than I do. They're like, oh, God has given me sometimes this vision, and it's just so big. And I've just got to share it with my staff, and I get too passionate sometimes, and I've really got to let go. And I'm like, I've been praying, and God's been wrestling with me in this passion. And I'm just sitting there like,
Do you feel like a lot of Christian vision, quote unquote, is ambition disguised as marketing?
oh, I have no idea. Because my first thought was, do I not have enough vision? Am I not praying enough for vision?
Right.
And then I thought, my vision is that people would love other people and reveal who Jesus Christ is in their lives, through their lives to the other people's lives. That's my vision. Like,
Right.
I'm not going to have this grand plan
Well,
on
and
conquering.
Sometimes it just simple is okay. Simple can be
Well-
profound in its simplicity, and it doesn't need to be.
And in this day and age, that's still a giant vision.
Oh, it's lofty.
Yes.
But so that was my one. And the other thought I had was, they're struggling. Like they were all like, it's way harder than I ever imagined. And my wife looked at me and she said, is it always going to be like this? And I told her, I think so, honey. And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of love it. I think it's a lot of fun. Like, yeah, we've had some difficult moments and things are challenging, but it's like, I don't know.
There again, is that like a false humility of
I
like,
don't
I'm
know.
going to say it's hard so that you can pat me on the back and be like, well, what a good job you do persevering through the tough.
I don't know.
Or they're putting too much pressure on themselves. Like,
Maybe.
Well, which is what RD said. He said, Jay, he goes, you've been through a lot. He goes, whether it be your 12 years on Young Life staff, he goes, certainly everything you went through with Trey. He goes, and I think you've got a very deep level of trust in God.
yeah.
That you don't think you've got to carry this mantle and you've got to be in charge and you're the man. He goes, you want to see things happen. If they don't, okay.
I was going to say, I
Redirection.
believe that you are uniquely suited to be a head pastor. You talk about having navigating awkward waters on your tombstone. And I believe that,
I thought it was just a life motto, but whatever.
did I say tombstone?
You did. I may have said it too. I
Yeah,
just
I
don't
think
remember.
I think you may have. But,
Say headstone. but
I
it's
don't
fine.
remember anything. So, but no, I believe that you're truly suited to navigate
awkward waters.
those things. You've done it at school for years. As a coach, and so I think that, man, I never want to be a pastor.
No.
I never, especially a head pastor at a church, because there's so much that goes into that, and it's not an easy job. And I think a lot of people have, they come out with a feeling like they have a desire and a mandate from God, but then they get into it, and it's like a lot of things where it's like, you might not be suited for it, or you just might not be. You may have to adapt in ways that you're not prepared to do. And I think you have stepped into what you've done with, like you said, with so much of the experience that you've had. I think it suits you very well.
Well, and I appreciate that. And where I have to reside is in the T-shirt that I wanted to make for our church, which is, we're not fancy and we're not fundamental. We're kind of a niche church. Like, I don't want to have a mega church with zip lines and everything else, but I'm also not going to sit here and tell everybody they're going to hell each week. So I'm uniquely gifted for this role at this church at this time.
And you recognize that was your vision. Like you've maybe even inadvertently carved a niche out within our church by giving people the space to live in that huge area where you're not saying, this is who we are. This is who we are.
You be whoever you want to be. And it is a lofty call to be a pastor, I suppose, but all callings are that way. But I think another lofty calling is being a parent. And Amy, we were on the phone last week and talking about podcast stuff, and you brought up an interesting point that before we head to the Instagram reels, I'd love to flush out. There's no, I barely remember it, but I thought it was worth talking about.
I think what you're referring to is we were talking about when you have to make a decision that is the right decision for you and or your family, And some in your family and some not within your family may not think that that's the right choice, and how to articulate why you think it's the right choice without being overly negative. So emphasizing the positives of this is the right choice for us because it allows us to do this versus, well, we're not going to do it because these are all the reasons it's terrible. We had an opportunity to be in attendance at at something that Mark and I did not feel would be well suited for our family. And so we chose not to attend. And we had a conflict anyway, but even though that conflict could have been adjusted, we really thought long and hard about how we would feel. And this was on, I was just saying to Eric, it was on last week's podcast. I don't know when it was because I listened to them out of order, but there was a recent podcast where we were talking about how you feel when you are with somebody and how you feel when you are no longer with them. Like if you've been out to lunch with somebody and then you leave that lunch, like, are you left like, that was great, I can't wait to do it again? Or like, oh,
Got through that one.
Right. And
or just exhausted.
Exactly. And that's sort of how we had been feeling the last handful of times that we had been in a gathering similar to this. And I thought, like, why, like, we're grown adults that can make our own decisions. And the tougher part was trying to talk to my kiddos about that and explain to them why we weren't doing it. And Alyssa didn't care. She happy-go-lucky. Abby was the one who was a little bit more personally invested in, and then watching her try to wrestle with, like, I'm going to say it's okay. I'm going to say I don't care. I'm going to say we don't need to go. I don't want to go. And I finally was like, could you just be honest? Like, I would rather you tell me, like, I really want to go and I'm disappointed that we're not, versus no, it's fine, if that's not truthful. Like, if you really don't want to go too, that's okay.
But I think
But
that
just tell
right
me the
there
truth.
is such a great start to all of it, which was you have the right to the way you feel and to what your feelings are based on your emotions, because she was going to feel like either left out or like she had offended somebody by not going, you know, and be cast out. So we're hitting all the different emotional needs. And if she's just giving you a blind yes, well, then she's learning there's no validity to what I feel, and I'm not safe to share.
Well, and also just the fact that you even considered what your kids felt. You know, how many parents out there are just, they do what they're going to do, and the kids are just along for the ride. And, you know, that brings a whole different set of questions and traumas.
I did tell her when we sat down and talked about it, I said, I really want you to tell me how you're feeling about it. I really want you to be thoughtful about how you're feeling, which again goes back to the conversation you were having. Like, don't just say you're mad. Like, why are you mad? Tell me what it is. Like, what's the feeling that, and where's it all coming from? And I said to her, as we started that, I said, but before you say anything, please know that this is not a conversation that is intended to change our minds. It's a conversation to understand what we're talking about, but not like, you know what, Mark, Abby has a good point. This is not that, but it is a place for you to tell me what you're thinking about. And she's very much like Mark. We've talked about this before. She's very easygoing. She was bummed. And I think it was like everyone else is, but she understood. And I was very honest. I was like, I don't always feel good in those situations, and I don't want us to all not feel good. That won't be
And to a
fun.
degree, you've seen her not feel good.
Sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes.
I think really what it's coming down to is when you're making a principled stand or a principled decision, decision based on principle, that's going to emotionally negatively affect your family, in the hopes that it will save you from further emotional damage. And it's having the courage to do that. I think if we break it down, a lot of that is based on what is the family's emotional needs. Because if it's acceptance, being loved even though you've been forgiven or you've screwed up, well, that's going to be a tough sell then, because everybody's going to be mad at me that we didn't go. But if everybody in the family is more security based, okay, this is probably safer. It's an easier sell.
Right.
And so having the courage to make the decision alone is admirable. And really what it comes down to is, hey, well, that's what we're supposed to do. Too often,
it was.
they just go to the party,
Right. It was
the event.
It was tricky, and ironically, and Mark's like, well, couldn't have gone anyway. Abby ended up Friday night being very uncomfortable, complaining that her ear was hurting, and I'm looking at my 13-year-old. I'm like, ear hurts. I'm like, what
What
are
are
you?
you, 2?
Well, I was like, what are you, 7 months old? I'm like, what is going on right now? And sure enough, I was like, okay. She came in midnight. She's crying. And I don't know how to help you in this moment. Like, I can't give you anything. Like, even if I gave you an Advil, it's not going to kick in instantaneously. Like, I don't know what else to do. So we're like Googling like ear infections, like, what do you do? Like, is there an instant, like, can you put hot on it? Can you put cold? So we ended up at MedExpress
No.
or whatever Saturday morning
Oh.
they open at 8, and we were those people like Black Friday standing outside the door at like 7:55, like, hello, let us be first. And we got in and out within 15 minutes, got our prescription, and got
But
her on
that's
our way.
cold. Getting in that, like not being. I hate it when you go like when they open and there's like 20 people ahead of you, and you're just like,
Or midday. It's worse.
No,
wanna
well,
cut my
that's
thumb.
Yeah, we pull in and we're in the car, and it's like 7:50, and I'm like, I'm not standing out in the cold for 10 minutes. Like, we can see the door, and this car pulls in next to us, and Abby goes, Mom, go.
Yep.
Move. She's like, not so fast, lady with a bun on her head. I was like, whoa, Abby's coming out for it. Coming
brought
out,
the
fired up.
snark.
She did. Well, she wasn't feeling well, and I can't blame her.
Yeah.
And that's what we were laughing because the nurse was looking at her file and her chart and everything. She's like, so you kind of don't know what you're doing here, do you? Like, not accusatory, but just they're healthy kids. So she didn't know. She's like, yeah, you don't really know what you're dealing with. I was like, I don't. She hasn't had an ear infection since she was 6 months old. I don't know what to do.
and that's
So-
what it was.
Yeah.
And she's feeling better now.
Yeah. Medicine is not her friend, but
No.
it doesn't. She doesn't.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that why her belly hurt?
She's rallying. She was the most Abby I've seen her in like a week tonight before I left.
A week. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Medicine's
It's
terrible.
tough.
Yeah.
I know.
the
It's like
worst.
it's a double-edged sword.
Well, they say the difference between medicine and poison:
Is
dosage.
All right.
Yeah. You know,
Heavy.
some people overdose on social media,
that is a fact.
and other people just turn a blind eye to it. And I love, just like anything else, I love to look into things and find what's good about them. And it occurred to me when I took a break from Twitter because I was being a little too overly political. And I'm like, well, I mean, I can't just not look at my phone. I mean, come on. So I
What
started
is this,
watching.
1984?
I know. Instagram Reels. And I started noticing, because we've talked about it in social media posts, which, there was one the other day. Todd, my assistant coach, former assistant coach, my very good friend, posted that he's just struggling in the mornings and that he was wide awake at 5 o'clock, took a shower, ate breakfast, and then just like crashed and actually went back to sleep before he went to school. And he said, I just don't know what my brain is doing to me. And I don't know what's wrong. And my body and my brain are fighting. And it's just terrible. First comment. Doesn't get better as you get older.
Oh my gosh. People are the worst.
So we've done one episode of
that is
Facebook posts and
inappropriate.
comments. But today we're going to look at just different Instagram Reels. Some are showing great emotional responding. Some not. Some social observations on relationships and emotions. And if you are watching this with us on YouTube, you will be able to see it on the split screen. But each of them it's more verbal than it is physical to see. And so we're just going to comment through and just pick apart what's good, what's not good. And that's what we're going to do.
Which one do you want to do first?
I don't care, bro.
Do we want to set the table for you?
Number one
Yeah.
reason people gave for divorcing was this. Pastor, we're just, quote, incompatible. That was their
is a
reason. We're
pastor
just
talking.
incompatible. Friends, there's no such thing as incompatibility. It's a term made up by divorce attorneys to justify divorce. We're all incompatible because we're all different. Nobody's going to be completely compatible with you because nobody's exactly like you. So no matter who you're with and who you marry, you're going to be incompatible. The truth is, you can get along with anybody that you choose to get along with, and you can choose to love anybody that you choose to love. Now, if I were to summarize thousands of hours of marriage counseling in 2 words, this is going to save you a lot of money. Here are the 2 words you need to hear that will make your marriage a success. Grow up! Stop being an irritating little immature, I won't say the word. It's immaturity that causes marriage to die. It's not incompatibility, it's inflexibility. I want what I want, and I want it now, and you want what you want, and neither of us are old enough, mature enough, smart enough, spiritual enough to change. And I am willing to let this thing die, then change. And you're willing to let this thing die, then change. It has nothing to do with it.
I thought she was going to say something. The lady that
Yeah,
was.
I was waiting for the.
Yeah, it's one of those observational reels where she's watching it and she never does anything.
No.
She didn't even like make a face.
No, she really
No.
didn't. I thought, no.
Like,
Are you
not sure why
reacting
she
to?
did
Yeah,
that.
are you
Yeah.
reacting to his? So
Yeah,
why
there
would
was
you-
no
why'd you-
reaction.
Yeah, why'd you post that? It's kind of bizarre.
she did give like a
It's
kind of
li-
subtle nod, like
By definition, it's a reaction video, isn't it?
Well, at one point when she
Isn't that what they call those?
she, like-
yeah.
Yeah, except she didn't react.
No.
Well, she moved her hand, and I thought she was gonna like turn the camera to like who was next to her to be like, I'm incompatible with this. Like,
Right.
but she.
Well, she made it onto a podcast.
I tell you what, we should
Cheers
let-
to you,
tag
lady,
her in this.
lady in a light turquoise shirt or whatever
An
color that is.
obscenely large hand. It's probably a perspective.
As far as the message goes, I think there's a lot of truth to it. I don't know if it's that easy.
I would agree. The just growing up does not. It's growing out. It's growing deeper and broader, not just growing up and being like, oh, now I'm older and wiser. Therefore, you have to do the work to grow.
And life can be extremely complicated.
No, never. Not really. I don't find it to be. It's very.
So you're living in a
sailing.
complicated life, and you just have to grow up. You have to be more mature. I mean, maybe
But it's not like maturity is something you go and buy.
or choose.
Or choose.
Well, you can. Well,
I mean, you can choose incrementally, but like, you can't just be like, okay, here's a big problem. I'm just going to choose to be more mature in this problem, and everything's going to be fine. It would be a process, and I would agree with that. But I feel like that minimizes the wrestling and the struggles and the realities of a long-term intimate relationship, and it breaks it down into too easy of a advice that a lot of people just can't maybe achieve.
that's fair.
I was gonna say, I do agree with it to a certain extent, but I think the how is through emotional needs. Like, and I think what he was talking about when I want it now. It's it's all about me, and there's no like we talk a lot about seeking understanding, and there's like I think what he's talking about is like you have to seek understanding with your partner, and when you do that, then you go into emotional needs, and you talk about that, but like
or any needs.
yeah, or any needs, right? But yeah, like I agree with you. Like it's not just as easy as growing up. But
It's a lot of
that's-
facts,
You don't
logic,
flip
and
a
reason.
switch.
I hate it every second.
It's a lot of facts,
I
logic,
hate
and
it
reason.
every second of it because he's mocking people for saying we're incompatible, and you just try to sum it up by saying we're incompatible. Instead, you need to grow up. Well, what does that even mean?
Right.
Right.
Like it's so cliche filled and so thousands of hours of counseling, blah blah blah.
And what about the other person? What if they don't want to meet you?
Right, what
Like,
do you
how
do
do you,
then?
what
Or
do you
what
do
if
then?
you grow
Right.
up and the other person doesn't grow up
Right.
with you, and so
Right.
now you are
You're maturing, they
mightier
might not
than
be
now
maturing.
in some respects.
And he
or
said you'll
holier
never
than
be
thou.
compatible with anybody, or you can be incompatible with like. No, we have different needs, and the beauty of it is God putting those. Like you're a pastor, bro. God put. I broed him. That God put the two of you together so that you can act out of an act of love and sacrifice to yourself, meet the other spouse's need, knowing and trusting that they're then going to meet your needs. And how beautiful that is that the two become one. We stop looking at it as two, and he's looking at them as two individuals.
Right.
No, the two became one. And so how do we nurture each half of that one by meeting each other's needs, being open and honest and vulnerable, and growing that relationship into something beautiful that God would honor and be a witness to other couples.
That was part of one of the readings at mine and Mark's wedding was love is not about finding the right partner; it is about being the right partner.
Ooh, I like that.
And
What book of the Bible is that from?
I don't know if it was a biblical reading. I did have some biblical readings, but I don't think that.
No,
was
it's funny
one of
because you
them.
said reading, and I was like, okay, what verse is it? Where you're
No.
like being.
It's
so true.
It is true because it's not just about seeking to find and seeking to match, and it's being the right partner. It's recognizing what your partner needs and being that, even if it sometimes is a step outside of your comfort zone and not exactly who you are, whether it's finding a common interest or learning to like something that is their interest or, so.
I say in every wedding, you're when I do it with the ring, when we do the rings, and you're choosing to love this person. There's no beginning, there's no end. You're choosing to love this person. Don't say, oh, we fell out of love or we're incompatible. No, you find where you can compat with this person. You know, just like you said, you have to be it. Don't say, oh, well, we were wrong. Oh, we love each other, but we're not in love anymore. Like, no, you're choosing not to love anymore.
Yeah, that is a choice, more so than I think just becoming mature is a choice. Like you don't.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Like,
Mature.
yeah, I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and be mature. If it's that easy, then be mature right now. Don't wait till tomorrow to wake up mature.
Never mind. Man, I am so mature.
Immature or mature?
Mature, because I didn't say what I was thinking.
That's
Oh,
right.
way to go! Way to filter.
You want to
Proud
do
of
it? Next one?
Sure, pick one. All right. JP.
Here's how you know if someone's your friend. A, you can tell them bad news, and they'll listen. They won't tell you why, you're stupid and why that bad thing happened to you, and how something worse happened to them once, and, derail the whole conversation. You can actually tell them bad news, and they'll listen. So that's a good thing. And then, this is a weirder thing, you can tell them good news, and they'll help you celebrate. And that's a really good way of deciding who you should have around you. And so you want to surround yourself, you got to think about this. You got to surround yourself with people who want the best for the best part of you. Here's how you know if someone's your friend.
Man, I love Jordan Peterson.
It's literally it's literally what our whole podcast
that
is.
was lunchtime in Rome.
is centered around.
He puts it so well.
He really does. He really does. And man, it is really eye-opening. Like when you do get in that vulnerable spot and you do express like a hurt or something like that, and then the person does not meet you, and when that
it's a lonely place when you know what we know.
yeah, right. But
What comfort
when
looks
you
like?
unlock that, two things happen. One, well, I'm not gonna go to them anymore for that.
Right.
And two, it's worse because you're you're the worst.
Well, especially if you had an expectation in your mind
Right.
of what would happen.
Yeah.
And it's so far from that
Yeah.
it's not only the rejection, for lack of a better word. It's not just the rejection, but it's the knowledge that you were wrong to think that is what you would receive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now you're like, misjudged that one.
I even love that he brought in the one-upping.
Yeah, and yep. And stealing the story
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't get better when you get older.
doesn't get better when you get older.
Thank you.
You know, I saw a reaction video of that. And when he talked about people that will celebrate with you, the person reacting, it was like a podcast. I think he was actually on the other guy's podcast saying this again. And the guy's face just lit up that is brilliant, which is so great. He's like, man, that should be in a book of wisdom or something.
It's true. It's celebrating other people's successes and making them more aware of the power of that and not letting them shy away from it. We talk about not coming across as braggadocious or egocentric or any of those things. And it's okay to celebrate. It's okay to share, Bella's good news. That's Ethan's good news with the musicals. Those are amazing things. And it's frustrating when you say something like that and people are like, oh, well, okay, I guess your kid's cool. No, I didn't say my kid was the coolest. I'm just really excited.
It's not a zero-sum game. Just because my kid did great doesn't mean I think your kid sucks.
Correct.
Well,
They might.
and it sucks.
They probably do.
Yeah, but it just sucks when somebody
Doesn't join.
basically, is stealing and robbing you of that joy because they don't understand how to join you, or they're so hurt and they're taking something from you. They refuse to join you because
It's
it
not about
didn't
them.
happen to me.
Right. Yeah. We start, we used to start them, and now we end our weekly team meetings with a win. And everybody has the opportunity. And every now and again, I toy with the idea of mixing it up and having people share a win on someone else's behalf. Jay, tell me something really great that Eric did this past week. And then so that you know what he's recognizing and you're having to be intentional about your interactions with them. But then I haven't done it yet because I'm not sure if everybody would feel comfortable being kind of put on the spot, or
Can you prep them for something like that?
sure. Yeah. We're actually, I'm working through
And then they all say something you did, and it looks like you made it self-serve.
it would be great if they were about me. I do write your reviews and such. No.
I think one of the most wonderful things in this life, and I think this goes to respect, is when you feel seen.
Oh, yeah.
And so many people walk through their days feeling invisible. And so something like what you're saying is, in a lot of, like, you're in a work environment, and so many work environments are just like, do your 40 hours, do your 50 hours, whatever it is, and go home. And was I seen? Am I appreciated?
No, your work product was seen.
Your work product was seen,
You
but
as a
were
human
you
were
seen?
Might
it?
have been.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But
Did you do anything?
so I think what you're doing, or when somebody properly joins you, it really does, it makes that person, you know what, I'm not invisible.
Right.
I do matter,
Right.
in some way, shape, or form.
Well, and it goes back to me, it goes back to intentionality of, don't just say like, oh, well, you did such a great job with that podcast. You know what I really liked? I really liked how you started the recording by saying this. And I really liked that you used this type of, device, or it's being specific with the praise. And what is it? What is recognized is repeated, or what is rewarded is repeated, or something along those lines.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's
they want to get that
reinforcement.
reinforcement.
Jinx.
We'll do this one.
I love this girl so much
You turn it up.
that I am prepared to come home
So it's a
from work
woman laying in
every day,
bed with this,
sit down in front of her, and listen to her story.
she's just waking up, shaking her head.
Now I know it's not going to have a beginning or an end. I realize that. She's going to introduce new characters along the way. But I'm going to listen with love and empathy. Going to offer no solutions. Even if there is a clear solution, I love this girl so much.
If you couldn't hear it, he said he's going to listen to his woman, and he loves her so much he's going to listen to her story, even though it doesn't have a beginning, it doesn't have an end. She introduces new characters halfway through, and he's not going to offer a solution. My
Even
man.
when there's a very clear
very
solution,
clear.
a very clear solution, he's going to just swallow his tongue and say nothing.
And it's funny because I can see you saying like, "But there's a solution there." When
But
do
what
I
if
get to?
what if you considered?
I love him. I thought it was great.
Oh yeah,
It's
and
funny.
we've talked about that. Like when your wife comes home, she's had a rough day. Like just listen, just listen.
There's so
Or can you do you ask the question? Did we talk about this? You asked me this. Am I listening to listen, or am I listening to advise?
I certainly didn't use those words, but
Something along those lines. That
well, it's always don't ask questions because the
Right.
questions are for you, not for them.
Right.
If your goal is if they need you to join them in their emotion, you shouldn't be asking questions.
Right. You just meet them where they are and where they've allowed
Questions
you
are for
to,
you, not for them.
Right.
Now, if they
Fair
want
point.
advice, then sure. You
Right.
know. And that goes back to Ryan Lowe when he called me and he's like, "Look, I know you're going to comfort me, but I need you to really tell me what to do.
can we just cut through the touchy-feely stuff for just a second? Just can we put
I
that on the
need
back burner?
advice at this point in time."
Yeah.
Go to the apology one with Kevin Hart.
Oh, I love this one.
Oh, I love Kevin Hart.
He's so funny.
With the little bump bumps
And me, I'm 56 years old.
Is that Don Cheadle? Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because it was a thought. No, seriously, it was a thought. It was a thought, and I blurted it out.
I'm
I did
fine.
not mean it that way.
I'm fine.
Okay, but just understand I didn't mean it the way it came out.
We'll take a poll on how you meant it with people here later after the show's over, but
I can sit up here and honestly say, buddy, that was from a place of love.
got it.
Like,
That
damn.
was,
Like, damn.
you didn't. If we could play it back right now,
Play it back.
These are two different dams.
Play back slow motion.
There wasn't no.
I said,
There was no like. Wow,
I said, damn.
no, you said the word damn. Do you want me to tell you how you said it?
I know how I said it.
Do you want me to say it back to you how I think you said it?
Go ahead.
Damn.
Not true.
Fam.
Not true.
Fam.
I said,
Kevin.
I said, damn it.
Each time you said it, now it's gotten quieter and quieter. I could barely hear you that last time you was... And me, I'm 56 years old.
Damn.
It's so great because I can't tell if it's a bit.
Yeah, I was
Because
gonna
they're
say, is
so
it
good.
scripted? 'Cause-
Because when he goes, he gets real quiet. He's like, I said, damn it. Like, it's like, you didn't say it like that, dude.
Well, and he chuckles a little bit. I think he chuckles because he knows he's lying. I don't think it's because it's a bit, because he realizes he's just going downhill fast.
I'm trying to save it. I'm trying to save it. we're in the skid. I can't save it.
Play the beginning again, though, until I say stop, because we look a lot
And
at how
me,
people
I'm
apologize.
50.
Okay.
Go ahead.
And me, I'm 56 years old.
Damn.
Damn.
He's hurt.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because it was a thought. No, seriously, it was a thought. It was a thought, and I blurted it out.
I'm
I did
fine.
not mean it that
I'm
way.
not- I'm
Stop.
fine.
Okay.
Can I gripe about something real quick?
Sure.
You can't pause reels.
Oh yeah, I know. You got to
It's
start
so
over.
frustrating.
Well, stop it. You can't pause it. Right.
Right.
It is frustrating.
Wait, let me try something out real quick.
And me, you know, I'm
Real
56
quick.
years old.
I can hold my finger on it and pause it.
What happens when you let go?
It starts again.
Somebody at Instagram was just like, "Yeah, that's how you
sorry.
do it, Eric."
I don't want to hold my.
I'm sorry. Because it was a thought. No, seriously. It was
And
a
if you-
thought.
I'm like having
It was a thought, and I
flashbacks of
blurted
video
it
games
out.
where you,
I'm
like,
fine.
I mean it that
I'm
way.
not-
somebody
I'm
figured
fine.
out if you jump up high, you hit a mushroom and coins pop out. But like, who knew to do that? You're just like trudging along, and like, if you jump right there, like, who knew to put your finger? Who knew to do
Right.
that?
Or the glitches when you go out the side and come out the other way.
Yeah, who knew that?
That's not even.
And
in the game.
Don Cheadle is such a good.
Chadell?
That's his French name.
I thought it was. Is it
Cheadle.
Cheadle? I thought it was.
Hey,
French
thought it was,
Canadians call him
in,
Chadell.
in
Chadell.
Pittsburgh here, we call it Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle.
Don
Cheadle.
Cheadle
No date. Just Cheadle.
and that.
He's such a good actor.
Yeah.
Like he could be acting through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he's horrifically hurt. I think it's. Let's assume they are though.
Okay.
For the context
Yeah.
of the thing, because
He looks
what
hurt.
He does. He looks a little bit hurt, and then he's like, "Ooh, I got him," so I'm going to make him feel bad. And then Kevin Hart apologizes. He says sorry,
Yeah.
and what does he immediately do?
I didn't mean it like that.
I didn't mean it like that. So therefore,
You shouldn't be hurt.
Right.
critical. You shouldn't be hurt,
Right.
Because I didn't intend for it to be that way.
Right.
God works in mysterious ways. Today, I made a phone call to apologize to somebody, and the person said, "Thank you. You are forgiven." I did really feel disrespected. I was like, "Whoa!" Like, I was calling to apologize, not to rehash how you felt in that moment, because
I'm showing you.
I'm
Is your point?
right. I'm coming to you to say I'm sorry. Like, I would like. Because that honestly, it stirred it right back up again. And then it was like, well, why did I call to apologize? Because here you are, like bringing it all back to what happened. Like it was an interesting conversation.
Which is frustrating and bothersome.
A little bit.
However, could you have then said, help me understand why you felt disrespected? Because are they taking your apology as a get out of, hey, I'm sorry I said that. And they go, well, you're forgiven, but like I can hear it.
Yeah.
But
No, I
Because
apologized
they're-
very
they-
specifically. I said, I am calling to tell you that this is what happened yesterday. This is why it happened. That is not an excuse for the behavior. I am telling you that this is what's going on. I'm very sorry that this is how I behaved, and I'm very sorry that it caused friction on the phone during our conversation. And then it was, well, yeah, that's great. But never once was it, I'm sorry to hear that, like, or I'm sorry that you were going through this. Or it was just, let me make sure that you know that I was really disrespected.
and they don't think they know how much they felt disrespected, or else they wouldn't say that.
Correct. I don't think I was disrespectful.
Okay, wait. Oh, this is such a good thing. And I'm
Yeah.
just scared to go
Yeah.
here. So you did not think you were being disrespectful.
I can see why she thinks that, but that again, to like, I didn't mean it that way. That's not at all. I did not say that. I did not say. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to raise my voice. Implies that I had no control over my vocal range. That I raised my voice. Like I clearly did raise my voice.
And you can see how by raising your voice, they felt disrespected,
Correct.
even though they shouldn't have.
Well, no, that if they want to feel disrespected, that is their prerogative. It is interesting that it was not mutual. That it takes two to tango. So this was not where I picked up the phone and called and said, "Jay, I'm not coming at 8:30. You told me 8:10 and I'm not coming later. That's ridiculous." And then hung up. There was a conversation that went back and forth. So there was another individual in play. So perhaps I did not call to get an apology from that person. I called to offer my own, and found it interesting that in offering an apology, that person did not also say, "Yeah, I get it."
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't want to be let off the hook. I mean, I was calling to apologize. That's what you do. If you do something wrong, you apologize. So I didn't want to be let off the hook, but
But the way they did it then brought up everything that had already just happened that you were trying to.
So not only do you
Find
not
peace
get the
with,
apology
right.
back, But you got to double
you're
down
hurt
on the
again.
hurt.
Yep.
Yeah. And I was like, interesting.
Yeah. F that person.
But I think in both examples, the key is for those who have done the offending, or anyone who does the offending, to seek to understand rather than seek forgiveness or the apology. You know, had you led with, man, when I raised my voice, I could make you feel like I could see how I made you feel a little bit less, made you feel a little disrespected. They might go, wow, yeah. If he says, hey, when you went, damn, I can see that I made you kind of feel old there,
Right.
and not lifted up and not appreciated, not honored. Instead of, I didn't mean that, is what he said.
Right.
I didn't mean it. You're taking it wrong.
Right.
Right.
I was going to say, it puts the blame on them.
Right.
It says you are hearing it incorrectly. You hear what you want to hear.
Right. Or you perceived it wrong in the first place. Yeah. That's a gross situation you're in.
Yeah.
How's your finger? over there?
Yeah.
Oh. He said, no, you can take it off. We're done with that one.
All right.
Okay, but just understand I didn't mean it the way it came out.
And he doubles
Perfectly
down.
timed.
But it's a great example. He just doubles down.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Oh,
He's like,
That's
bro.
that's like the defensive, the immediately defensive. And I've had that situation too, where you're trying to give someone feedback, and their immediate reaction is to be defensive instead of hearing you.
Right. It's very selfish and normal. Do you just want to do one more?
Yeah. I find it funny the one we did with the pastor. We did a reaction video of a reaction video.
Yeah.
Um.
Do
Inception.
you just want to do one more? Maybe finish with that, dude?
This. Yeah.
I don't know what the bottom one is, though. I forget that one. Oh, no, that one's too heavy.
Respect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's way too heavy. This one's more funny.
Yeah.
I hate when I show my friend a funny video and they'll be like, oh, I already saw this one. I don't care. Laugh. Pretend you didn't see it. Better yet, if you already saw the video, then why did you send it to me the first time you saw it? Huh? Did you not think that I wanted to laugh too? No. You only think about yourself. Because you're selfish. It's toxic. It's a toxic relationship. Cut them off. I hate when I show my...
This is Amy and me. Like, but I will play it off. Like, I will laugh.
Well, it sounds like he's from Jersey too.
Even if I've already seen it.
They're all dead inside out there.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is good.
And since I watched that, when somebody sends me something, I'll say, well, that's hilarious. I don't go, so. It's
Right.
I hadn't even thought of it.
Actually, Amy sent me something 2 days ago about the worship team when the pastor's praying. And it's like,
Oh, the monkeys.
Yes.
but
Hilarious.
Lex had showed that to me, and then Amy sent it to me.
Gorillas.
So I gave her the laughing emojis after I saw this video.
Yes. Yeah.
But I didn't say.
Oh, and it's easier to do it in that.
Could you do both?
It's.
What's that?
It's easier to do it.
Hey,
through
I saw
texting,
this,
though.
and it's so funny.
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah.
I've done that. I've played
Yeah.
that card where like I saw this and it is hilarious. Like like you're still confirming,
Mm-hmm.
but it probably is just better to laugh.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
agree.
easy. It's easier to do, in through text than in real
Mm-hmm.
life because you're like, oh crap, I gotta
Pretend that I
gotta
haven't seen
act
this
here.
before.
I gotta gotta put on a little bit of a show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But once again, if you think about it, it's joining somebody in their emotions. I found this to be funny. I would like to share it with you.
What happens when you don't think it's funny in return?
It depends.
Like when someone sends you something that's not even like inappropriate, because like not prudish, but just something that's just
Well, for example, I
It doesn't
showed-
hit you the way that it hit them.
right.
Right. Well, then it was a miss.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's different than saying, yeah, I already saw it. It's not about you, bro.
Right.
I'm asking
Well,
you to join me.
I still think you can
Right.
validate it by going, I didn't get this one, or something at least again to say, I recognize this. I appreciate you sending it. Didn't quite
Well, it's
hit
like
me.
if you offer me a really, really good IPA beer. I don't like beer.
You're not gonna
I'm not
drink
going to be
that.
like, I love that beer.
Right,
I'm gonna be
right,
like, it's
right.
not for me, but man, I'm glad you enjoy that.
Yeah.
I mean, I shared a video with Rachel, which I knew dadgum well she wasn't going to like it. It was the snowboarding 3-year-old.
Oh, it was so cute.
And she goes
Oh,
on.
no,
It's
not
the one
that
where
one.
she's
No,
encouraging
Not
herself.
that. No.
Didn't we watch it last week, or did we just watch it afterwards?
And
Should have been a trail of blood.
She goes on to a grind pipe, where they'll do whatever, and she just straight up hits it, and her face hits the pipe, and she scorpions the entire way. I mean, I laughed for 10 minutes straight. I sent it to Bella, who was downstairs, and I hear her downstairs. Ah! Show it to Rachel. She's like, that's a baby.
I mean,
I'm like, "It's a-"
this girl's neck was just impossibly
just
angled.
done.
No, not funny.
It was
See, that would not be
hilarious.
funny to me.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
But that's like the
I
America's
knew
Funniest
she
Home
wouldn't share.
videos, and they show you, and there's like the first 4 that they tease in the opening credits are these like violent skateboard
What, America's
crashes or
Funniest
whatever.
Videos?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're like, why is that funny? That's not funny.
And I do kind of disagree with his point though of like why didn't you share it with me?
Oh, it's gone.
Because I would end up sending you guys like
30 a day.
yeah, like
I
or
typically
Amy
send
like,
like 1 a day to each.
but you guys would be like, do you work? You know what I mean? Like
Rachel's
how
friend
many
group
times
from
did
high
you
school.
go to the bathroom today? Like you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like that's what
times
people
you
would
get
start
trapped in the
asking. So like you filter it, and you're like, I know they're gonna think this is funny, or they're gonna really appreciate this one. You know, so when I send something, it's like, this was the best one I found today. You
Right.
know, or you know what I mean,
Well, like I was saying with Rachel's high school friends.
or this week or whatever. yeah.
She's like, apparently they don't do anything. She goes, because I'm at war all day with a bunch of 3-year-olds
Yeah.
and everything else. And then I get out and I have 62 messages, and all they are Instagram reels and TikTok videos from her entire friend group on their text thread.
Yep.
Yeah, I've had
Yep.
some of that. I've had some of that, and you do feel. And then again, it's the conversation we were having earlier when you're the only sober person in a room full of drunk people. You're like, I'm the only one that's been working all day. You people have been off, and you want to respond and be like, ha ha ha, but you're like, not amused,
Right.
not amused.
And I'm not a big fan of cut them off. I'm okay. I was a bit strong.
Toxic, maybe
You send
overkill.
somebody a video and they're like, I've already seen it. You're like, we're done.
This is a
Friendship
toxic relationship.
and scene. There's a good segue for you.
All right, and that is it. Oh man, I've not done this in forever. Oh my gosh, that's
What,
it for
red words?
yes, pretty much.
The English language.
That's it for episode 181. Please make sure to give us a like or follow on social media and visit us at lunchtimeinrome.com. While there, take our relational needs questionnaire. Thanks for joining us at the table for Lunchtime in Rome. See you
Thanks
next
for
week.
having me.
Bye.
Bye.